35 Black celebrities lost to AIDS. Their tragic stories will shock you. The world lost some of its brightest stars to AIDS, and many of their stories remain untold. From trailblazing musicians to groundbreaking actors, these Black celebrities had their careers and lives tragically cut short by a disease that was shrouded in stigma and silence. But their legacies continue to impact culture today. In this video, we uncover the shocking truths behind their struggles, triumphs, and the devastating loss of talent that we can never replace. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to keep up with more powerful stories of Black excellence and the fight against AIDS. Bobby DeBarge. Bobby DeBarge was a defining figure in the world of R&B, known for his role as the lead vocalist of the family group Switch. His powerful falsetto voice made him a beloved figure in the 1970s and early 80s, capturing the hearts of fans across the globe. Born on March 9, 1956 in Detroit, Michigan, Bobby grew up in a musically inclined family, and his natural talent was evident from an early age. His family, known as the DeBarge family, became a significant force in the music world, with Bobby leading the charge. Switch, the group he formed, was unique in its fusion of funk, soul, and pop, and their hit single, There'll Never Be, became one of their defining moments in the music industry. Despite his musical genius, Bobby's life was marred by struggles with addiction. At the peak of Switch's success in the early 1980s, Bobby was heavily involved in drugs, particularly heroin, which consumed him. This addiction became a constant battle for him, leading to his personal and professional decline. It is estimated that Bobby spent around $3,000 a week on drugs during this period. His addiction led to a series of personal tragedies, including the strain it placed on his relationships and his health. In 1988, Bobby's life took a downward turn when he was arrested for heroin possession and he was sentenced to prison. It was during his time in prison that he received the devastating news that he had contracted HIV, a diagnosis that he kept private for most of his life. In 1993, after serving his prison sentence, Bobby was released and found himself in a battle not only with his past, but with his health as well. His condition deteriorated quickly. He lost a significant amount of weight, his skin turned pale, and he was constantly ill. By 1994, Bobby was hospitalized with severe hepatitis, and in 1995, his body finally succumbed to the ravages of AIDS. He passed away on August 16, 1995, at the age of 39, weighing only 99 pounds. His death, caused by complications of AIDS, marked the end of a promising career and an unforgettable legacy in R&B. Though Bobby's life was filled with both musical success and personal tragedy, his voice continues to live on, a haunting reminder of the brilliance that was lost too soon. Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Fela Anikulapo Kuti was a revolutionary force in music and politics, and his legacy continues to influence artists and activists around the world. Born on October 15, 1938 in Abeokuta, Nigeria, Fela was not only a brilliant musician, but also a fierce advocate for political change. He is best known for pioneering Afrobeat, a unique fusion of traditional Nigerian rhythms, jazz, funk, and high-life music. His music was a direct reflection of his staunch opposition to the corrupt political systems in Nigeria and his commitment to social justice. Fela's Afrobeat became anthemic, blending social commentary with infectious rhythms that ignited a movement both in Africa and globally. Fela's career was characterized by an unflinching commitment to speak truth to power. His music was not just entertainment, it was a tool of resistance. Through songs like Zombie, Water No Get Enemy, and Sorrow, Tears and Blood, Fela used his platform to confront the Nigerian government, denounce oppression, and expose the struggles of the common people. His outspokenness and radical views made him a target of the Nigerian government, which frequently arrested him, tortured him, and even destroyed his property. In 1977, his Kalakuta Republic commune was raided by the Nigerian military, and his mother was thrown from a window, which ultimately led to her death. Despite these brutal experiences, Fela remained undeterred in his fight for justice. His personal life, however, was often marked by contradictions. Fela had an infamous relationship with women, marrying 27 wives, and his sexual liberation reflected the chaotic, free-spirited world he inhabited. In his later years, Fela's health began to deteriorate. His reckless lifestyle, which included heavy drinking and drug use, took a toll on his body. His refusal to seek Western medical treatment further exacerbated his condition, and he turned to herbal remedies and traditional healing practices. In 1997, Fela was diagnosed with AIDS. His body was ravaged by the disease, and he spent his final days in a hospital in Lagos. Despite his declining health, Fela remained a symbol of defiance. He passed away on August 2, 1997, at the age of 58. Fela's death marked the loss of a titan of music and activism, but his impact continues to resonate. His music, his political courage, and his ability to challenge power are an indelible part of global cultural history. Fela's life and work stand as a reminder that art can be a powerful tool for social change, and his fight against corruption and oppression remains an enduring legacy. Ronnie Dyson. Ronnie Dyson was a soulful voice that defined an era of music in the 70s and early 80s. Born on June 5, 1950 in Washington, D.C., Dyson was a talented and charismatic performer who captured the hearts of fans through his angelic tenor voice. His breakthrough came when he joined the original cast of the Broadway musical Hair, which catapulted him to fame. He gained instant recognition with his mesmerizing performance of Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In, a pivotal track in the show's success. Dyson's voice was pure, emotional, and full of raw energy, making him one of the most sought-after vocalists in soul music at the time. In the early 70s, Ronnie Dyson began recording his own solo material, which proved to be a significant success. His 1970 hit single, Why Can't I Touch You, became one of his most iconic songs, resonating with listeners for its heart-wrenching lyrics and his powerful delivery. The success of this track, along with others, cemented his position in the soul music world. Dyson's smooth ballads, characterized by emotional vulnerability and passion, captivated audiences nationwide, earning him a reputation as one of the leading voices in soul music. Despite his professional success, Dyson's personal life took a tragic turn. As his career began to slow down in the mid-80s, the pressures of fame and the changing music landscape led to his increasing isolation. Dyson moved to Philadelphia, where he struggled with depression and drug addiction. It was during this period of personal crisis that he was diagnosed with HIV. As his health declined, Dyson withdrew from public life and battled the disease in silence. By the late 80s, his body had become frail, and the once vibrant soul singer was a shadow of his former self. Ronnie Dyson passed away on November 10, 1990, at the age of 40, succumbing to AIDS-related complications, including pneumonia. Tragically, his death went largely unnoticed by the public, with few acknowledging the loss of one of soul music's brightest talents. Dyson's death serves as a somber reminder of how quickly fame can fade, and how deeply the effects of addiction and the AIDS epidemic were felt within the music industry. Sylvester James Jr. Sylvester James Jr., known mononymously as Sylvester, was one of the most iconic and flamboyant figures in the disco era. Born on September 6, 1947 in Los Angeles, California, Sylvester was a pioneer in the LGBTQ+ community and a trailblazer in the world of music. He became an emblem of freedom, self-expression, and inclusivity, using his music and his personality to shatter norms and create space for LGBTQ+ individuals in mainstream entertainment. His powerful falsetto voice and effervescent stage presence turned him into a disco legend, and he remains one of the genre's most influential figures. Sylvester's career took off in the 1970s with his early work in the San Francisco club scene, where his performances in gay nightclubs earned him a devoted following. His breakthrough came with his 1978 album Sylvester, which included the hit single You Make Me Feel Mighty Real, a song that became a disco anthem and propelled him to stardom. The track was an immediate hit, and it showcased his unique blend of dance beats, soulful melodies, and his signature falsetto voice. Sylvester's impact on the disco scene was undeniable, and his music, which often touched on themes of liberation and love, resonated with the LGBTQ+ community, who found in him a champion for their rights. However, despite his musical success, Sylvester's personal life was marked by struggles with substance abuse, particularly cocaine and alcohol. He became immersed in the hedonistic lifestyle of the 80s, which often included late-night parties and fleeting romances. In the mid-80s, his health began to decline. In 1985, Sylvester was diagnosed with HIV, and by the late 80s, the disease had begun to take its toll. His once vibrant voice started to weaken, and his energetic performances became increasingly difficult. Sylvester's battle with HIV was both public and painful, yet he continued to perform and spread awareness about the disease. He was an advocate for AIDS research and support for the LGBTQ+ community during a time when the epidemic was often misunderstood and stigmatized. In his final years, his health deteriorated rapidly. On December 16, 1988, Sylvester passed away at the age of 41 from complications related to AIDS, including pneumonia and Kaposi's sarcoma. Sylvester's legacy lives on not only in his music, but also in his role as an LGBTQ+ icon who used his platform to challenge societal norms. His contributions to the disco genre are still celebrated today, and his fearless, unapologetic embrace of his identity paved the way for future generations of LGBTQ+ artists. Kenny Greene. Kenny Greene was a talented R&B singer and the lead vocalist of the group Intro, whose smooth voice and captivating stage presence made him a prominent figure in the 1990s. Born on December 17, 1974 in the United States, Greene's passion for music started early, and his immense talent quickly earned him recognition in the R&B scene. In 1993, he formed Intro, a group known for its sultry, soulful ballads that blended contemporary R&B with classic influences. Their debut album, which included hits like Funny How Time Flies and Come Inside, was a commercial success and solidified their place in the pantheon of 90s R&B. Greene's voice was undoubtedly his greatest asset. He was praised for his ability to deliver both powerful and tender performances, bringing emotion and authenticity to every note. Intro's sound was distinct, often setting them apart from other acts of the era, with their signature blend of lush harmonies and heartfelt lyrics. However, despite the group's success, Greene's personal life was anything but smooth. While Intro was enjoying its rise, Greene was struggling with personal demons that would ultimately affect both his career and his health. By the late 1990s, Kenny Greene had withdrawn from the music scene. It was around this time that he was diagnosed with HIV. Greene's health began to deteriorate rapidly, and by 2000 he was hospitalized multiple times for various complications related to the virus. His weight plummeted, his energy faded, and he faced many challenges with his body weakened by the illness. In 2001, after battling for years with the disease, Kenny Greene passed away on October 1, 2001 at the age of 26. His death was a heartbreaking loss to the music world, especially considering the promising career and future that lay ahead for him. Greene's contributions to R&B, particularly through his work with Intro, are still remembered today. His legacy lives on through his music, and the emotional depth of his voice continues to resonate with fans of the genre. Kenny Greene's story serves as a reminder of both the fragility of life and the importance of supporting those living with HIV. Roderick Pooh Clark. Roderick Pooh Clark was an emerging star in the R&B scene, best known for his role as a member of the popular 90s group H-Town. Born on September 23, 1972 in Houston, Texas, Clark had an early start in the world of music. H-Town, formed in 1992, gained recognition for their smooth, sensual brand of R&B, with their music often touching on themes of love and romance. The group's hit songs like Knockin' da Boots and They Like It Slow showcased Clark's rich, soulful voice, which contributed significantly to the group's success. H-Town was known for their ability to blend funk soul and smooth ballads, and they quickly became one of the defining groups of the 90s R&B movement. Clark's contributions to the group were undeniable, and his ability to harmonize with his bandmates helped give H-Town its distinct sound. However, despite the group's success, Clark's personal life was not without its struggles. In 1992, he was involved in a severe car accident that required extensive surgery and hospital care. Following this, Clark began facing challenges that affected his health and career. However, the most significant and tragic event came later in his life when he was diagnosed with HIV. His diagnosis, which he kept largely private, marked the beginning of a battle that would shape the remaining years of his life. In the late 90s, Clark's health began to decline rapidly as the virus took its toll on his body. He continued to fight in silence, as many HIV-positive individuals did at the time, but by 2002 the damage had become too much to overcome. Tragically, Roderick "Pooh" Clark passed away on April 14, 2002, at just 29 years old. The cause of death was listed as complications from AIDS-related illnesses, and he passed away alone in a hospital room far from the spotlight that had once been his. Clark's death was a devastating loss to the R&B community, especially considering the promising future that H-Town had. Despite the personal challenges he faced, Clark's contributions to the group's success remain a testament to his musical talents. He will always be remembered for his role in shaping the sound of 90s R&B and for his voice, which resonated with fans of all ages. Roderick "Pooh" Clark's legacy continues to live on, his influence still felt in the hearts of R&B lovers around the world. Orish Grinstead. Orish Grinstead was a talented R&B singer, best known as a member of the girl group 702. Born on February 2, 1980 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Orish was part of the dynamic trio that became known for their hit songs such as "Where My Girl's At" and "I Still Love You." The group, formed in the mid-90s, gained significant attention with their blend of hip-hop, soul, and R&B. Orish's powerful vocals and striking presence made her an essential part of the group's success, and 702 quickly rose to prominence, earning accolades and a loyal fan base. Her career with 702 showcased her natural talent, and she was recognized for her strong voice, which shone through on several of the group's major hits. However, just as 702 was on the verge of even greater success, Orish's life took a tragic turn. In the early 2000s, 702 went on hiatus, and it was during this time that Orish began to experience personal struggles that would ultimately affect her health and career. Unbeknownst to many, Orish became involved in a relationship with a wealthy older man in Las Vegas, who tragically carried a deadly secret: he was HIV positive. Orish, not knowing the risks, contracted the virus, and it wasn't until 2006, when she began feeling physically ill, that she was diagnosed with HIV. Her health deteriorated rapidly, and she faced various complications, including kidney failure. Despite her decline, Orish continued to fight for her health, but the lack of resources and support made it an uphill battle. Orish Grinstead passed away on April 20, 2008, at just 28 years old. Her death, caused by AIDS-related complications, was a heartbreaking loss to both the music world and her fans. Though Orish's life was tragically short, her legacy lives on through her music and the impact she made in the R&B scene. Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was not just a legendary tennis player, but also a symbol of resilience, courage, and integrity. Born on July 10, 1943 in Richmond, Virginia, Ashe became the first African-American to win a major men's singles title with his historic victory at the 1968 U.S. Open. He broke barriers both on and off the tennis court, becoming a prominent figure in the civil rights movement. Ashe's athleticism, paired with his calm demeanor and commitment to fairness, set him apart from his contemporaries. His 1975 Wimbledon win solidified his place in tennis history and made him an international icon. Off the court, Arthur Ashe was just as influential. He used his platform to speak out against racial inequality and worked to bring greater diversity to the sport of tennis. His activism was particularly visible during the 1960s and 1970s, a time when racial tensions in the United States were high. Ash's commitment to social justice extended beyond tennis, and he used his fame to challenge racial segregation, advocate for education, and support anti-apartheid movements. In 1988, Ash's life took a heartbreaking turn when he was diagnosed with HIV, which he contracted during heart surgery in 1983 through a contaminated blood transfusion. In a time when HIV/AIDS was heavily stigmatized, especially among African Americans, Ash chose to reveal his diagnosis to the public in 1992, bringing awareness to the disease and reducing the stigma associated with it. Arthur Ashe's health deteriorated quickly, and despite his ongoing efforts to raise awareness for HIV/AIDS and encourage others to take preventive measures, he passed away on February 6, 1993 at the age of 49. His legacy lives on not only in the history of tennis, but also in his unwavering fight for equality and social justice. Ash remains an inspiration to athletes and activists alike, remembered for his grace, intelligence, and relentless pursuit of a better world. Alvin Ailey. Alvin Ailey was a visionary choreographer and dancer who revolutionized modern dance by incorporating elements of African American cultural heritage. Born on January 5, 1931 in Rogers, Texas, Ailey grew up in a racially segregated environment which shaped his passion for both dance and activism. His early exposure to dance came after he moved to Los Angeles in the 1940s, where he studied at the Lester Horton Dance Theater. Ailey's exposure to Horton's technique, which emphasized the flexibility of the human body, became a significant influence on his choreographic style. In 1958, Ailey founded the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, which would go on to become one of the most renowned and influential dance companies in the world. Ailey's choreographic works were known for their emotional depth and their ability to address themes of racial identity, spirituality, and freedom. His best-known piece, Revelations 1960, is still considered a masterpiece of American modern dance. It incorporates elements of African American culture and spirituality, blending jazz, blues, and gospel music to tell powerful stories of struggle and triumph. Ailey's commitment to inclusivity in the arts was evident in his company, which became a groundbreaking force for diversifying the dance world. He believed in providing opportunities for dancers of all racial and ethnic backgrounds and was instrumental in bringing African American and modern dance to international audiences. In the early 80s, Ailey's health began to decline. In 1988, he was diagnosed with HIV, a condition that he kept private for a long time. His health deteriorated quickly, and on December 1, 1989, Alvin Ailey passed away at the age of 58. His death marked the loss of a cultural icon whose contributions to the world of dance are still celebrated today. Ailey's legacy lives on through his dance company, which continues to perform his works, as well as through the many dancers and choreographers who carry his influence into the future. Willi Smith. Willi Smith was a revolutionary fashion designer whose work made a lasting impact on both the fashion industry and streetwear culture. Born on July 29, 1948 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Smith rose to fame in the 1980s as one of the most influential black designers of his time. His unique blend of high fashion and street style was groundbreaking, bringing an urban edge to traditional luxury fashion. Smith co-founded the fashion brand Willi Wear in 1976, which became one of the most popular names in fashion during the late 70s and early 80s. His designs, characterized by their bold, vibrant prints and unorthodox styles, were heavily influenced by the music, art, and culture of the era. Smith was known for his ability to merge fine tailoring with casual, everyday wear, making his brand approachable yet stylish. His collections embraced a wide range of influences, including African American culture, jazz, and hip-hop, which helped bridge the gap between high fashion and urban street style. His influence was so profound that by the mid-1980s, Willi Wear was being worn by celebrities, artists, and musicians alike. Smith's work was particularly significant in the context of black culture in fashion. At a time when the fashion industry was dominated by a select few designers, Smith's designs made luxury fashion more accessible to a broader audience, particularly the black community. His brand was celebrated for its inclusivity, offering a refreshing perspective in an otherwise exclusive industry. However, Smith's promising career was tragically cut short. In the late 1980s, he contracted HIV, likely during a trip to India, where he stepped on a discarded needle. His health began to decline, and his fight with the disease remained largely hidden from the public eye. Smith's condition worsened in 1987, and he died on April 17th of that year at just 39 years old. His death was a profound loss to the fashion world, but his legacy continues to influence designers and creatives today, especially in the world of streetwear. Beaver Hale Willie. Beaver Hale was a gifted guitarist whose contributions to soul and R&B music left an indelible mark, even though his life was cut tragically short. Born in 1948, Hale was a key figure in the development of soul and funk, working with legendary artists and becoming a staple in the industry. His distinct guitar work is featured in numerous recordings, and his ability to create powerful grooves and melodies helped shape the sound of many of the greatest acts of the era. Hale's career took off in the 1970s when he began playing with Curtis Mayfield, one of soul music's most influential figures. He contributed to Mayfield's groundbreaking albums including Superfly 1972, a soundtrack that became a defining work in both the soul and funk genres. Hale's guitar riffs were integral to the album's success, providing the smooth and groovy undertones that complemented Mayfield's socially conscious lyrics. His work with other artists such as Millie Jackson and Betty Wright further solidified his reputation as a sought-after musician. Despite his musical achievements, Hale's personal life was filled with turmoil. He became entangled in the chaotic party scene of the 1980s, indulging in drugs and alcohol, which eventually led to his downfall. Unfortunately, this lifestyle caught up with him in ways he could not escape. Hale contracted HIV during a time when the disease was shrouded in fear and stigma, and he kept his diagnosis largely hidden. As his health deteriorated, Hale continued to play in small clubs around Los Angeles despite his worsening condition. By 1987, Hale's health had rapidly declined. He had lost significant weight, and his body was covered in sores, a consequence of both AIDS and his lifestyle. Willie Beaver Hale died in relative obscurity on August 27, 1987, at just 39 years old. His death was a quiet one with little fanfare, but his musical legacy lives on in the timeless recordings he left behind. Michael Peters. Michael Peters was a visionary choreographer who helped shape the look of 1980s pop culture. Born on March 10, 1948 in the United States, Peters was best known for his choreography in some of the most iconic music videos of the era, most notably Michael Jackson's Thriller. His work transformed the way dance was integrated into pop music, blending athleticism with artistic expression. Peters played a major role in creating the now famous dance sequences that brought Thriller to life, making it one of the most iconic music videos in history. His innovative choreography helped set the standard for the future of music videos, where dance became an essential element of the narrative. In addition to Thriller, Peters worked with several other high-profile artists, including Diana Ross, with whom he choreographed her performance for I'm Coming Out, another groundbreaking video that showcased the integration of dance with music video production. His talents as a choreographer were undeniable, and he became one of the most sought-after professionals in the industry. However, despite his professional success, Peters struggled privately with personal challenges, including his sexuality and the pressures of living up to the industry's demanding standards. In the mid-1990s, as the HIV/AIDS epidemic began to claim the lives of so many in the entertainment industry, Peters was diagnosed with the virus. He kept his diagnosis private like many others at the time, but his health began to rapidly deteriorate. By 1994, Michael Peters was battling the complications of AIDS. His body, once full of vitality and energy, began to waste away. Despite his decline, he continued to push forward with his work, never letting his illness define him. On August 29, 1994, Michael Peters passed away at the age of 46. His death was a tragic loss to the world of dance and music, but his contributions to the art form continue to influence choreographers and performers to this day. His work in Thriller remains one of the most celebrated achievements in music video history, ensuring his place in the legacy of great artistic innovators. Calvin Yarbrough. Calvin Yarbrough was a gifted soul singer whose voice captured the hearts of many in the R&B community. Born on February 3, 1947 in the United States, Yarbrough was best known for his role in the duo Yarbrough and Peoples, which became a staple in the R&B scene during the 1980s. Along with his musical partner, Al Pepe, Peoples Yarbrough produced smooth melodic hits that resonated with fans. Their most notable song, Don't Stop the Music, became a popular anthem and defined their sound-blending soulful vocals with funk-inspired beats. Before forming Yarbrough and Peoples, Calvin Yarbrough worked as a session musician and songwriter, lending his talents to several high-profile projects. His deep, emotive voice was a standout in both his solo work and as part of the duo. Throughout the 80s, Yarbrough and Peoples were frequently featured on R&B charts, creating a legacy of smooth, soulful tracks that connected with audiences across the globe. Despite his professional success, Yarbrough's personal life faced turmoil in the form of struggles with substance abuse. By the mid-1980s, his lifestyle began to take a toll on his health, and during this period, he contracted HIV. At the time, the AIDS epidemic was hitting the black community and the music industry hard, and like many, Yarbrough chose to remain private about his diagnosis. As his health began to deteriorate, the once vibrant performer became increasingly frail. By the end of 1987, Calvin Yarbrough's health had deteriorated rapidly. He was hospitalized and spent his final days battling the effects of AIDS. On December 15, 1987, at just 40 years old, Yarbrough passed away in a quiet and private manner. His death, like so many others lost to the epidemic, was a somber reminder of the toll AIDS took on black artists in the 80s. Calvin Yarbrough's voice, however, remains a significant part of R&B history, and his legacy lives on through the timeless music he created with Yarbrough and Peoples. Howard Rollins Jr. Howard Rollins Jr. was a gifted actor whose career rose to prominence in the 1980s, capturing the attention of audiences with his powerful performances. Born on October 17, 1950 in Baltimore, Maryland, Rollins quickly made a name for himself as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. He earned critical acclaim for his roles in both television and film, but it was his portrayal of Coalhouse Walker Jr. in the 1981 film Ragtime that truly solidified his place in the entertainment industry. Rollins's performance was not only a career-defining moment, but also one that showcased his incredible depth as an actor, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Throughout his career, Rollins became known for his ability to embody complex characters with both grace and emotional depth. He later appeared in the popular TV series In the Heat of the Night, 1988 to 1995, playing the role of Officer Lawrence Webb. His performances on the show made him a household name, and he quickly became a beloved figure in the American television landscape. Rollins's charisma, combined with his natural acting talent, made him one of the most respected actors of his generation. However, Rollins's personal life was marked by struggles with addiction and later a tragic battle with HIV/AIDS. By the early 90s, Rollins faced increasing challenges in both his career and personal life, including battles with substance abuse. His struggles became more pronounced as the effects of the HIV virus began to take hold of his body. Despite his declining health, Rollins continued to work, refusing to let the illness take away his passion for acting. On December 8, 1996, Howard Rollins Jr. passed away at the age of 46 from complications related to AIDS. His death was a tragic loss to the entertainment industry, as he had been one of Hollywood's most promising stars. Though his life and career were cut short, Howard Rollins' legacy continues to live on in his unforgettable performances and the trail he blazed for black actors in Hollywood. His contributions to the arts remain a testament to his talent and dedication. David Cole. David Cole was a highly influential music producer and one half of the groundbreaking duo C+C Music Factory. Born on November 3, 1962, Cole's talent as a musician, producer, and songwriter helped shape the sound of dance music in the late 1980s and early 90s. Along with Robert Clevilles, Cole co-founded C+C Music Factory, and the duo quickly became pioneers of the house and dance music scenes. Their hit singles including Gonna Make You Sweat. Everybody Dance Now became anthems of the era and cemented their place in pop culture. The track, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 and dance charts, remains one of the most iconic dance tracks of all time, and the group's albums received massive commercial success. Cole's work went beyond just C+C Music Factory. He was a highly sought-after producer and remixer for a variety of artists, including Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and Deborah Cox, helping to produce some of the biggest hits in the music industry. His keen ear for melodies and his innovative approach to mixing genres, particularly blending house dance and pop, earned him accolades and widespread recognition in the music world. Despite his immense success, Cole's personal life was marked by struggles, particularly with his health. In the early 90s, Cole was diagnosed with HIV, a diagnosis he kept largely private. At a time when the AIDS epidemic was ravaging the entertainment industry, many musicians like Cole faced the stigma and fear associated with the virus. As his health declined, Cole continued to work producing music and contributing to the industry he loved. Tragically, his battle with the disease took a toll, and on January 24, 1995, David Cole passed away at the age of 32. His death from AIDS-related complications was a devastating blow to the music world, particularly the dance and house music communities. Though his life was cut short, Cole's legacy as a producer and his impact on the dance music genre continue to be celebrated by fans and fellow musicians alike. Max Robinson. Max Robinson was a groundbreaking journalist who made history as the first African-American anchor on a national evening news broadcast in the United States. Born on May 1, 1939 in Chicago, Illinois, Robinson's rise to prominence in the 1970s was a significant moment in the history of American television. As a trailblazer for African Americans in broadcast journalism, Robinson's role at ABC News marked a pivotal moment in the fight for civil rights and racial representation in mainstream media. His calm, authoritative voice and dignified presence made him an instant figure of respect in the news industry. Robinson's career began in local news, but his breakthrough came when he joined ABC News in 1978 as an anchor for World News Tonight. His ability to deliver news with clarity and professionalism set a new standard for broadcast journalism. As an African American in a predominantly white industry, Robinson became an important symbol of progress representing both the African American community and the fight for diversity in media. His career not only broke barriers, but also challenged the status quo, proving that black journalists could hold prominent, influential positions in the media landscape. Despite his professional success, Robinson's personal life was marked by struggles with alcoholism. His battle with addiction was a well-known part of his life, and it increasingly affected his ability to work. In the mid-1980s, as his health declined, Robinson was diagnosed with HIV. In an era when the disease was still heavily stigmatized, especially among African Americans, Robinson's diagnosis was kept largely private. As his health deteriorated, Robinson continued to work, though his physical condition made it increasingly difficult for him to maintain his role as a national anchor. Max Robinson passed away on December 20, 1988, at the age of 49, due to complications from AIDS. His death was a significant loss not only to the world of journalism, but also to the African American community, as he had been a beacon of hope and progress. Robinson's legacy as a pioneer in broadcast journalism continues to inspire future generations of journalists, particularly those from marginalized communities, who see in him a path to greater opportunities and recognition. Bernard Edwards Jr. Bernard Edwards Jr. was an innovative musician and the legendary bassist and co-founder of Chic, a pioneering funk and disco group that forever changed the landscape of music in the late 70s and early 80s. Born on October 31, 1952 in Greenville, North Carolina, Edwards was a visionary who played an integral role in shaping the sound of disco funk and soul. Together with Nile Rodgers, Edwards formed Chic in 1972, and their musical synergy produced some of the most iconic songs in music history, including Le Freak and Good Times. These tracks not only defined the disco era, but also laid the groundwork for the future of funk, influencing countless artists and genres to come. Edwards was known for his distinctive bass playing characterized by tight, syncopated rhythms and complex grooves that were both innovative and accessible. His bass lines were the backbone of Chic's sound, and he became an admired figure in the music world, working with numerous other artists as a producer, songwriter, and musician. Aside from his work with Chic, Edwards contributed to the development of other music projects, including collaborations with Diana Ross and Sister Sledge. His work helped define the sound of dance music, and his legacy remains integral to the development of modern pop and dance music. Tragically, Bernard Edwards' life was cut short due to complications from AIDS. In 1996, at the age of 43, Edwards was found dead in his hotel room in Tokyo, Japan, after a Chic performance. He had succumbed to pneumonia, a common complication for people living with AIDS. At the time of his death, the world had not yet fully understood the magnitude of the AIDS epidemic, and Edwards' passing was a quiet tragedy, marked by little fanfare in the media. Bernard Edwards, Jr. His legacy, however, continues to live on through his timeless bass lines and the music that changed the world of dance and funk forever. Larry Riley. Larry Riley was an actor whose talent and dedication brought him recognition in the entertainment industry, particularly for his role in the popular television series Knots Landing. Born on June 18, 1947 in the United States, Riley's career began with a passion for acting, and he quickly made a name for himself with his impressive performances on both the stage and screen. His role in Knots Landing, a primetime soap opera that ran from 1979 to 1993, made him a household name. Riley's portrayal of his character, which was marked by a mix of charm and depth, made him one of the standout actors in the series. Riley's career continued to flourish as he took on a variety of roles, and his versatility as an actor was evident in his work. He appeared in both television and film, earning praise for his ability to bring complex, layered characters to life. His range as an actor made him a respected figure in the industry, admired by his peers and loved by audiences. However, despite his growing success, Riley's personal life began to unravel. In the late 80s, Larry Riley faced personal struggles that affected both his career and health. Like many in Hollywood, Riley battled the pressures of fame and the complications that came with the intense scrutiny of the public eye. By the early 90s, Riley's health had begun to deteriorate. It was during this period that he was diagnosed with HIV, a diagnosis he kept largely private, as many individuals did at the time, due to the stigma surrounding the disease. As the effects of AIDS took hold, Riley's health rapidly declined. Larry Riley passed away on June 6, 1992, at the age of 44, from complications related to AIDS. His death was a heartbreaking moment not only for his family and friends, but for the entertainment world that had lost a talented actor. While his death was largely overshadowed by the era's ongoing battle with the AIDS epidemic, Riley's contributions to television and his impact on those who knew him live on. His memory remains as a testament to the resilience of those in the entertainment industry who quietly fought their battles in private. Melvin Lindsey. Melvin Lindsey was an influential radio DJ and music programmer widely credited for creating and popularizing the Quiet Storm format of late-night R&B radio, which became a staple in the 1970s and 1980s. Born on October 26, 1955 in Washington, D.C., Lindsey's career in radio was driven by his love for music and his ability to connect with audiences on a deep, emotional level. His soothing voice and knack for curating smooth, soulful music made him a beloved figure, especially in the late-night hours when Quiet Storm radio was at its peak. Lindsey's Quiet Storm format was revolutionary. It focused on slow jams and soul music that conveyed intimacy and emotional depth, offering a space for listeners to unwind and reflect on love relationships and personal struggles. The style was a departure from the traditional high-energy pop and rock formats that dominated the radio waves. It resonated particularly with African-American audiences, offering a soundtrack to the quieter, more introspective moments of their lives. His radio show, The Quiet Storm, became a monumental success, attracting thousands of listeners every night. However, behind his professional success, Lindsey faced significant personal challenges. In the late 1980s, Melvin Lindsey began to show signs of declining health, and it was later revealed that he had contracted HIV. His diagnosis was kept private, and despite the increasing toll the disease took on his body, he continued to work and perform his role as a DJ. Sadly, his health deteriorated rapidly, and on March 26, 1992, at the age of 36, Lindsey passed away from AIDS-related complications. His death marked the end of an era for Quiet Storm Radio, but his legacy as a pioneering figure in the R&B radio world lives on. Melvin Lindsey's soothing voice and contributions to the music industry continue to be remembered by those who were touched by his work. Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron was a poet, musician, and revolutionary whose work bridged the gap between poetry, jazz, soul, and hip-hop. Born on April 1, 1949 in Chicago, Illinois, Scott-Heron's musical career began in the 1970s, and he quickly became one of the most important figures in the world of African-American music and culture. Known as the Godfather of rap, he was one of the first artists to combine spoken word with music, creating a powerful blend of social commentary and rhythm that laid the groundwork for hip-hop. Scott-Heron's music was groundbreaking, particularly with his iconic song, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," which became a rallying cry for social justice movements. His lyrics often tackled issues such as poverty, racial inequality, and the Black experience in America. His voice, raw and unapologetic, resonated deeply with his audience, and his music became anthems for activists fighting against the systemic oppression of African Americans. Albums like Pieces of a Man and Winter in America are considered landmark records that fused poetic artistry with a deeply political message. However, despite his artistic success, Scott-Heron's personal life was marred by struggles with addiction. His battle with drugs, particularly heroin, was well documented and became a major obstacle in his life and career. In the 1980s and 1990s, his health and career suffered due to his addiction, and he was in and out of rehab. During this time, Scott-Heron's music slowed down and his public appearances became less frequent. In the mid-2000s, Scott-Heron made a comeback with his album I'm New Here, but in 2011, his health worsened as he was diagnosed with HIV. On May 27, 2011, Gil Scott-Heron passed away from complications related to the disease at the age of 62. His death was a profound loss to the world of music, but his legacy as a pioneer in blending music with activism continues to influence artists today. Gil Scott-Heron's work remains an enduring symbol of the power of music to inspire change and challenge injustice. Jermaine Stewart. Jermaine Stewart was a talented R&B singer, best known for his hit singles in the 1980s that captured the spirit of the era with their infectious dance rhythms and catchy hooks. Born on September 7, 1957 in Indianapolis, Indiana, Stewart's musical career began at a young age. His unique voice and energy made him a standout performer in the pop and R&B scenes. Stewart's big break came when he joined the band Shalamar in the early 1980s, contributing to hits like A Night to Remember. However, it was his solo career that truly established him as a major figure in the music industry. In 1986, Stewart released his debut solo album, The Word Is Out, which included his most famous hit, We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off. The song became an international hit known for its catchy melody and upbeat, infectious vibe. Stewart's androgynous style and energetic performances made him a beloved figure in the music world, and he became an icon of the 80s, performing in glamorous venues and captivating audiences with his distinct style. Despite his success, Stewart's personal life was marked by struggles that were often kept out of the public eye. In the early 1990s, Jermaine Stewart began to fade from the spotlight and his career started to slow down. The 80s was an era where HIV and AIDS began to claim many lives, and unfortunately, Jermaine Stewart was not immune. He was diagnosed with the virus, and though he kept his condition private, his health began to deteriorate. Stewart passed away on March 17, 1997, at the age of 39 from complications related to AIDS. His untimely death marked the loss of one of the most promising talents of the 1980s music scene. Despite his relatively short career, Jermaine Stewart left a lasting impact on pop and R&B music. His songs, especially We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off, remain a testament to his musical talent and the cultural era he represented. Willie Ninja. Willie Ninja was an iconic figure in the ballroom scene, renowned for his contributions to the art of voguing. Born on April 12, 1961 in New York City, Ninja became one of the most influential dancers of the late 20th century. His elegance, poise, and mastery of voguing made him a legendary figure in the LGBTQ+ community and a major contributor to the development of the voguing style, which had been inspired by the extravagant movements of 1960s fashion models and theatrical dance. Ninja's fame grew through his role as a dancer in the underground ballroom culture, where he gained notoriety for his powerful performances and unique style. He became known as the House of Ninja founder and brought the art of voguing from the underground clubs to the global stage. His performances were marked by grace, fluidity, and the ability to embody both strength and vulnerability, which set him apart from other dancers. Willie's influence extended beyond the ballroom scene, as he also appeared in the 1990 documentary Paris is Burning, which highlighted the struggles and achievements of New York's drag ball culture. The film brought voguing and the broader ballroom community into the mainstream, and Willie Ninja became one of its most famous figures. Throughout his life, Willie Ninja remained an advocate for the visibility and acceptance of LGBTQ+ individuals, particularly within the ballroom community. His style and presence resonated with the queer youth of New York City, offering them a sense of belonging and identity within the often exclusionary world of mainstream culture. Despite his success, Ninja's life was marked by struggles. In the early 2000s, Willie was diagnosed with HIV. His health began to deteriorate rapidly, but he continued to work and perform, embodying the resilience and strength he was known for. Sadly, Willie Ninja passed away on September 2, 2006, at the age of 45 from complications related to AIDS. His death was a quiet one without much public recognition, but his legacy as a pioneer in voguing and ballroom culture lives on. Ninja's contributions to dance, self-expression, and LGBTQ+ advocacy continue to influence and inspire generations of artists and dancers. Essex Hemphill. Essex Hemphill was a powerful poet, writer, and activist whose work broke barriers in the intersection of Black and queer identities. Born on April 12, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, Hemphill's poetry and activism focused on themes of Black liberation, LGBTQ+ rights, and the intersectionality of race, sexuality, and social justice. As one of the most vocal and prominent figures in the Black queer arts movement, Hemphill used his voice to fight for the rights and visibility of marginalized communities, particularly Black gay men, at a time when these intersections were often overlooked or silenced. Hemphill's poetry was raw and unapologetic, capturing the complexities of life as a Black queer man in America. His work confronted issues of racial identity, homophobia, and the AIDS epidemic, which affected the queer Black community deeply in the 1980s and 1990s. His groundbreaking collection, Ceremonies, Prose, and Poetry, released in 1992, remains one of the most important works in contemporary queer literature. Through his words, Hemphill provided a voice for a generation of Black men who had been silenced by society and the mainstream civil rights movements. As an activist, Hemphill was committed to addressing the stigma surrounding HIV and AIDS, which disproportionately affected Black queer communities. His activism was an essential part of his life and was woven into his work as a poet, speaker, and educator. Hemphill was also a member of the Naked Truth Group, a collective of black gay poets who sought to empower others through their art and activism. Sadly, Essex Hemphill's life was cut short by AIDS. In 1995, he passed away at the age of 37, leaving behind a powerful body of work that continues to influence writers, artists, and activists. His contributions to both the black and queer communities remain vital, and his poetry serves as a beacon for those fighting for justice, equality, and visibility in the face of adversity. Marlon Riggs. Marlon Riggs was a pioneering filmmaker and artist whose work radically explored the intersections of race, sexuality, and identity. Born on February 3, 1957 in Fort Worth, Texas, Riggs became one of the most important voices in documentary filmmaking, using the medium to confront uncomfortable truths about race, gender, and the complexities of being black and queer in America. His innovative films, characterized by a blend of personal storytelling, bold visuals, and cultural critique, continue to influence both film and social justice movements. Riggs's most notable work, Tongues Untied 1989, became a landmark in black queer cinema. The film, which mixed poetry, interviews, and performance, explored the experiences of black gay men navigating racism, homophobia, and the AIDS epidemic. Tongues Untied challenged societal norms and broke through the taboos surrounding race and homosexuality, offering a raw and unapologetic portrayal of black gay life at a time when such representations were scarce. The film's candidness and powerful narrative made it a critical tool in the fight against both homophobia and racism, and it became one of the most influential works of queer cinema. Riggs also directed Black Ain't 1994, another seminal work that examined the complexities of black identity, particularly within the context of gender and sexuality. In this film, Riggs boldly questioned the boundaries of blackness, rejecting stereotypes while exploring themes of self-acceptance, familial bonds, and the politics of race. Throughout his career, Riggs used his art to push against societal limitations and confront uncomfortable truths about identity and belonging. In 1994, Riggs was diagnosed with HIV, which became a central theme in his later work. His illness intensified his commitment to creating art that was not just personal, but political. Marlon Riggs passed away on April 5, 1994, at the age of 37, just as his career was gaining even more recognition. His death marked the loss of an innovative and fearless voice in filmmaking, but his legacy lives on in the work he created, which continues to inspire artists and activists seeking to break through barriers and confront injustice. Tony Fields. Tony Fields was a celebrated Broadway dancer known for his grace, versatility, and infectious energy. Born on May 19, 1960 in the United States, Fields began his career in dance at a young age, quickly becoming one of the brightest stars of the Broadway stage. His career soared in the 1980s, where he became famous for his outstanding performances in productions like A Chorus Line, Cats, and The Wiz. His dynamic stage presence and impeccable technique made him a standout, capturing the attention of audiences and critics alike. Fields was particularly known for his energetic style, fluid movements, and ability to perform challenging routines with ease. His passion for dance, coupled with his technical skill, led to roles in prestigious dance companies and professional productions. In addition to his Broadway success, Fields also appeared in a number of television performances and music videos, adding a further layer of recognition to his career. He became a beloved figure in the performing arts community, admired for his dedication to his craft and his ability to bring emotion and power to each performance. Despite his professional success, Fields' personal life took a tragic turn. In the early 90s, Tony Fields was diagnosed with HIV. At a time when the AIDS epidemic was heavily stigmatized, particularly in the entertainment industry, Fields' diagnosis was kept private. However, as his health began to deteriorate, it became clear that the disease was taking a toll on his body. Despite his health struggles, Fields continued to perform, showing incredible resilience and determination. Unfortunately, his health worsened rapidly. And on February 27, 1995, Tony Fields passed away at the age of 34 from AIDS-related complications. His death was a tragic loss to the performing arts community. Tony Fields' legacy lives on, remembered for his contributions to dance and the lasting impact he made on Broadway. Alan Wiggins. Alan Wiggins was a talented professional baseball player whose career was cut tragically short by the dual struggles of addiction and the AIDS epidemic. Born on January 14, 1960 in Los Angeles, California, Wiggins was known for his speed and versatility on the baseball field. A gifted second baseman and outfielder, Wiggins played for several Major League Baseball teams, including the San Diego Padres and the Baltimore Orioles. He was celebrated for his agility and his ability to steal bases, earning him a reputation as one of the best infielders of his era. Throughout his career, Wiggins was known for his energy, his determination, and his love of the game, quickly becoming a fan favorite. Despite his success on the field, Wiggins struggled privately with substance abuse. The pressures of life in professional sports, combined with the temptations of the party-heavy lifestyle of the 1980s, led to his increasing reliance on drugs, which ultimately contributed to his downfall. By the mid-1980s, Wiggins' career began to decline as the effects of addiction took their toll. His performance on the field suffered, and his personal life became marked by chaos. In 1987, Wiggins was diagnosed with HIV, though at the time he had not yet made a connection between his lifestyle and the illness. His health began to deteriorate rapidly, and the disease was compounded by his drug use, which weakened his immune system even further. As his body began to break down, Wiggins faced multiple challenges, including malnutrition and pneumonia. Tragically, Wiggins passed away on June 1, 1991 at just 31 years old. His death from complications related to AIDS was a tragic end to a promising career. Wiggins was remembered by his teammates and fans for his undeniable talent and his ability to light up the field. But his death also served as a stark reminder of the impact that addiction and HIV/AIDS had on the lives of many young athletes during that era. Alan Wiggins' memory lives on both as a sports icon and a cautionary tale. Frankie Knuckles. Frankie Knuckles, often hailed as the godfather of house music, was a pioneering DJ and producer whose influence shaped the trajectory of dance music. Born on January 18, 1955 in Chicago, Illinois, Knuckles' impact on the music world is immeasurable. He played a key role in the birth and evolution of house music, a genre that emerged in the early 80s in Chicago's underground club scene. Known for his impeccable taste in music, innovative mixing techniques, and ability to blend soulful melodies with pulsating rhythms, Knuckles revolutionized dance music and became a trailblazer for generations of DJs. In the late 70s, Knuckles began spinning records at the Warehouse, a legendary nightclub in Chicago where he became a key figure in the development of house music. His deep understanding of rhythm sound and atmosphere helped create a genre that not only catered to the dance floor, but also provided a sense of community and freedom. Tracks like Your Love with Jamie Principle and Tears are considered timeless anthems that cemented his place as one of the most influential figures in electronic music. Knuckles' productions and remixes shaped the sound of house music, inspiring artists across various genres and leaving a lasting legacy that still resonates in modern dance music. However, behind his musical success, Knuckles faced personal challenges, including the rising HIV/AIDS epidemic. In the mid-90s, he was diagnosed with the virus, but like many during that time, he kept his diagnosis private. Despite his declining health, Knuckles continued to perform and produce music, always remaining dedicated to his craft. Tragically, on March 31, 2014, Frankie Knuckles passed away at the age of 59 due to complications related to diabetes and AIDS. His death marked the loss of a true musical icon, but his influence on the dance music community remains profound. Frankie Knuckles' legacy continues to inspire DJs, producers, and music lovers worldwide. Stoney Jackson. Stoney Jackson was an actor and television personality whose career soared in the 80s, but whose life ended in tragic obscurity due to the AIDS epidemic. Born on June 13, 1960, Jackson made a name for himself with his charismatic presence on screen. He gained recognition through his role in the popular television series The New WKRP in Cincinnati, which ran from 1982 to 1983. His talent and charm made him a promising young actor, and he was considered one of the rising stars of television. Jackson's performances were marked by his warmth and natural appeal, which endeared him to audiences. In addition to his role in The New WKRP in Cincinnati, Jackson appeared in various TV shows and films throughout the 1980s, including Hill Street Blues and Miami Vice. His range as an actor combined with his effortless style made him a notable figure in Hollywood during that time. However, despite his promising career, Jackson's personal life took a tragic turn. By the mid-1980s, as HIV/AIDS became a growing crisis, Jackson began to withdraw from the public eye. It was during this period that he was diagnosed with the virus. At the time, there was significant stigma surrounding HIV, especially in Hollywood, and many individuals, including Jackson, chose to keep their diagnosis private. Unfortunately, Jackson's health deteriorated quickly, and he became another victim of the epidemic that claimed so many young lives during that era. On October 20th, 1995, Stoney Jackson passed away at the age of 35 in a hospital in Los Angeles, with his death attributed to complications from AIDS. His passing, largely unpublicized, was a quiet tragedy reflecting the many lives lost to the epidemic that went unnoticed. While Jackson's career was brief, his talent and the joy he brought to audiences continue to be remembered by those who appreciated his work. His story serves as a reminder of the devastating impact of AIDS on the entertainment industry and the lives it claimed too soon. Glenn Burke. Glenn Burke was a groundbreaking figure in professional sports, known for his role as the first openly gay Major League Baseball player. Born on November 26, 1952 in Oakland, California, Burke's career in baseball was filled with both triumphs and struggles. He was a talented outfielder and was drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1972, making his MLB debut in 1976. Burke was a fast and athletic player with an impressive ability to perform on the field. His energy and passion for the game earned him respect from his teammates, but it was his personality and boldness off the field that made him a pioneering figure in both sports and LGBTQ+ history. Burke's contributions to the Dodgers were noteworthy, particularly his involvement with the team's 1977 World Series championship run. However, his career was overshadowed by personal struggles, particularly due to his sexuality. At a time when homosexuality was taboo and not accepted in professional sports, Burke became one of the few players to openly identify as gay, which led to him facing discrimination from both teammates and management. His struggles with the hidden pressures of his sexuality within the hyper-masculine culture of professional baseball contributed to the abrupt end of his career. After being traded from the Dodgers to the Oakland Athletics, Burke's playing time became increasingly limited, and his career ultimately ended in 1980. In the years that followed, Burke struggled with feelings of rejection and isolation compounded by the societal stigma surrounding his sexuality. In the early 1990s, Burke was diagnosed with HIV and his health declined rapidly. He died on May 30th, 1995 at the age of 42 from complications related to AIDS. Though his death came quietly and with little recognition, Glenn Burke's legacy as the first openly gay professional baseball player remains an important part of LGBTQ+ history and the ongoing fight for acceptance and equality in sports. Kevin Peter Hall. Kevin Peter Hall was a towering figure in the entertainment world, known for his larger-than-life roles as both the terrifying Predator and the gentle Harry in Harry and the Hendersons. Born on May 9, 1955 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Hall stood at 7 feet 2 inches tall, making him one of the most distinctive and memorable actors of the 1980s and 90s. His imposing physical stature led to him being cast in roles that required a larger-than-life presence, yet he proved to be versatile, capable of both menacing and endearing performances. Hall's breakthrough came when he was cast as the Predator in the 1987 film Predator, where he portrayed the alien hunter in a role that showcased his incredible physicality. His ability to move with both grace and power made the Predator an unforgettable character in one of the most iconic action films of all time. His success in Predator led to other notable roles, including his portrayal of Harry the Lovable Bigfoot in the family-friendly Harry and the Hendersons. 1987. His portrayal of Harry, a creature meant to be frightening, but ultimately kind-hearted, showed his ability to connect with audiences emotionally despite being hidden behind makeup and prosthetics. In 1990, after a car accident, Hall was diagnosed with HIV, which at the time was still highly stigmatized. He kept his diagnosis relatively private, continuing to work in the industry while battling the disease. As his health deteriorated, Hall's career was cut short. He continued to act, but his physical condition made it difficult for him to maintain his high-energy roles. On April 10, 1991, Kevin Peter Hall passed away at the age of 35 due to complications from AIDS. Hall's death marked the loss of a beloved actor who had left a lasting impression through his diverse roles. He remains remembered for his groundbreaking performances and the way he used his unique talents to bring both fear and warmth to the screen. Kevin Peter Hall's legacy endures especially in the genres of science fiction and family film, where his contributions will never be forgotten. Wayne Cooper. Wayne Cooper was a prominent figure in the world of funk and soul music, known for his powerful voice and contributions to the group Cameo. Born on November 2, 1952 in the United States, Cooper became an iconic performer and a significant part of the funk music scene during the 1970s and 1980s. As the lead singer and a key member of Cameo, Cooper helped shape the sound of the group, blending elements of funk, soul, and R&B to create an infectious, danceable groove that captivated audiences. Cameo achieved success with hits such as Find My Way, Word Up, and Candy. Cooper's voice, known for its raspy and soulful qualities, became a defining element of the band's sound. His contributions to their performances were critical, adding a layer of grit and authenticity to the music that resonated with listeners. Cameo's infectious funk rhythms and Cooper's magnetic stage presence helped the group achieve widespread success in the early 1980s. However, despite his musical success, Cooper's personal life became increasingly troubled. As the 1980s progressed, his struggles with addiction intensified. Like many of his peers during that time, Cooper found himself caught in the grip of drugs and alcohol, which took a toll on his career and health. His dependency on substances became a struggle he could not overcome, and by 1983, the once promising career was in decline. Cooper's health worsened due to his lifestyle, and by the mid-80s, he had contracted HIV. His diagnosis, like many at the time, was kept private, and he continued to perform despite his declining condition. Tragically, Wayne Cooper passed away on October 15, 1984, at the age of 31, from complications related to AIDS. His death, like so many others in the music industry at the time, was largely unreported, but his influence on funk music and Cameo's legacy lives on. Roy Simmons. Roy Simmons was a talented professional football player who made an indelible mark on the sports world, only to see his life end tragically far too young, as he was ravaged by both the pressures of his career and the AIDS epidemic. Born on March 2, 1958 in New York City, Simmons was a gifted athlete and standout at both the collegiate and professional levels. He played for the New York Giants and Washington Redskins during his career, excelling as an offensive lineman. His physical strength, agility, and leadership made him a force to be reckoned with on the football field, and he became known as one of the best in his position. Despite the promise of his athletic career, Simmons' life off the field was filled with struggles. Throughout his time in the NFL, he faced pressures that led to personal issues, including problems with substance abuse. These struggles ultimately overshadowed his promising career, and his time in professional football was short-lived. In the early 1980s, after retiring from the NFL, Simmons found himself struggling with the aftermath of a traumatic experience and dealing with his sexual identity. He had spent much of his career in professional sports, concealing his homosexuality due to the hyper-masculine culture of professional football. In 1992, Simmons made the courageous decision to publicly come out as gay, becoming one of the first NFL players to do so. His announcement was groundbreaking and marked a significant moment in the history of LGBTQ+ athletes in the world of professional sports. Unfortunately, Simmons' later years were marked by continued struggles, and in the early 2000s, he was diagnosed with HIV. The disease, compounded by his past substance abuse, severely weakened his health. On February 15, 2014, Roy Simmons passed away from complications related to AIDS at the age of 56. His death was a tragic end to a life that had begun with such promise on the football field. Simmons' legacy, however, lives on, not just for his achievements in sports, but for his brave decision to publicly embrace his truth at a time when it was incredibly difficult. Gene Anthony Ray. Gene Anthony Ray was a talented dancer and actor whose life and career embodied both the glitter of fame and the tragedy of personal struggles. Born on May 24, 1962 in New York City, Ray became widely recognized for his role as Leroy Johnson in the 1980 film Fame, a movie that captured the raw energy and emotion of students at a performing arts high school. His portrayal of Leroy, a rebellious and charismatic dancer, made him a cultural icon and catapulted him into the spotlight. Ray's natural talent, dynamic dancing ability, and vibrant personality resonated with audiences, making him a beloved figure in the entertainment world. Following the success of Fame, Ray reprised his role in the 1982 television series adaptation, which ran until 1987. His portrayal of Leroy in both the film and TV series earned him widespread admiration. However, despite his rising fame, Ray's personal life began to unravel. The pressures of being in the public eye, combined with personal struggles and substance abuse, began to take a toll on his career and health. In the late 1980s, Ray's life began to spiral further out of control, and by the early 90s, he was battling addiction and other issues. His health began to decline significantly during this time. He was diagnosed with HIV, but his illness was kept largely private. Despite his deteriorating health, Ray continued to work sporadically in acting and dance, but found it increasingly difficult to maintain the career that once seemed so promising. On November 14, 2003, Gene Anthony Ray passed away at the age of 41 from complications related to AIDS. His death was a somber reminder of how addiction stigma and the AIDS epidemic disproportionately affected many talented individuals in the entertainment industry during that time. Ray's legacy lives on, especially through his role in Fame, where his dancing and acting continue to inspire new generations of performers. Eric Wright. Eric Wright, more famously known as Eazy-E, was one of the most influential figures in the development of West Coast hip-hop and gangsta rap. Born on September 7, 1963 in Compton, California, Wright co-founded the groundbreaking rap group NWA in the mid-80s, revolutionizing the music industry with their raw, unapologetic lyrics about urban life, gang violence, and social issues. As a member of NWA, Eazy-E became known for his distinct voice, his fearless approach to addressing controversial topics, and his role in shaping the genre of gangsta rap, which would dominate the hip-hop scene for years to come. Eazy-E's debut solo album, Eazy Does It, 1988, was a critical and commercial success, establishing him as a solo artist in his own right. His ability to blend street narratives with an infectious, hard-hitting style made him a key figure in hip-hop. In addition to his music career, Eazy-E was also a prominent entrepreneur, founding his own record label, Ruthless Records, which signed and helped launch the careers of artists like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. However, Eazy-E's life was tragically cut short by his battle with HIV. In 1995, after experiencing severe health complications, Eazy-E publicly revealed that he had been diagnosed with the virus. He spoke openly about the stigma surrounding the disease in the hip-hop community, using his platform to raise awareness about HIV/AIDS. Despite his diagnosis, Eazy-E continued to work on music, but his health deteriorated rapidly. On March 26, 1995, Eric Eazy-E Wright passed away at the age of 31 from AIDS-related complications. His death left a profound impact on both the music world and the broader fight against HIV/AIDS, as his passing highlighted the devastating toll the epidemic was taking on Black communities, particularly in the entertainment industry. Eazy-E's legacy endures both through his music and his role in shaping the sound and culture of modern hip-hop. AIDS claimed the lives of countless talented Black celebrities, leaving behind a legacy of both incredible artistry and tragic loss. From musicians like Eazy-E and Sylvester to actors such as Howard Rollins and tennis legend Arthur Ashe, the impact of this devastating disease was felt across every industry. Many of these stars were not only trailblazers in their fields, but also voices for social change. As we remember their stories, it's crucial to reflect on the ongoing battle against AIDS and the stigma that still surrounds it. What do you think can be done today to continue honoring their legacies? Share your thoughts below.